it's time to check back in on our old pal Sam Brinton. In case you don't know who that is, watch my old video from about 9 months ago. Pause this one and go check it out because context is actually pretty important. Though Sam is kind of a weird person, the previous video wasn't in my Dissecting a Degenerate series, because Sam is ultimately a tragic figure. The TLDR of the Sam Brinton story is, as a young boy, he felt an attraction to other boys his age, prompting his parents to put him through what he described as a viciously torturous conversion therapy program. As an adult, Sam became an expert in nuclear waste disposal, pioneered innovations in that field, and made headlines at the beginning of 2022 for being the first openly non-binary person to ever sit in a public-facing job in the Department of Energy. He went from a he-him gay male in his youth and in his early 20s to a they-them non-binary person in their 30s. It's hard to know how much of Sam's gender presentation, the kinks, which went viral, and the extremely flamboyant personality is actually them, and how much of it is an extreme reaction to the horrific conditions they endured as a child. Listening to Sam speak about his experiences back in 2011, he's literally just a normal guy. Sure, he's got a bit of that stereotypical gay lisp that was a big joke in the 2000s, but if this person hadn't been tortured as a child, maybe they would have just ended up as a regular gay adult and not be constantly going more over the top in a mad scramble for love, acceptance, and attention. Well, Sam is back in the spotlight for a news story I covered on the Weekly Sip a few weeks back. U.S. nuclear official charged with stealing suitcase from airport. U.S. nuclear official Sam Brinton is facing accusations that they stole a suitcase at an airport in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Court documents reveal that the 35-year-old, who was appointed this year as the head of spent nuclear fuel management at the Department of Energy, allegedly stole a bag from a carousel at Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, leading to Brinton being charged with felony theft. Security footage showed Brinton removing the bag's tag and putting the bag tag in the handbag they were carrying, and then leaving the area at a quick pace. Brinton told law enforcement officials that if I had taken the wrong bag, I'm happy to return it, but I don't have any clothes for another individual. That was my clothes when I opened the bag. Brinton got in touch with airport staff later to say that they hadn't been completely honest and admitted to taking the blue bag. They said they were tired and took the suitcase thinking it was theirs. Brinton grew nervous after opening the bag as they realized it wasn't theirs. They said they became nervous because people would think they stole the bag and didn't know what to do. Okay, so this sounds like an honest mistake, right? Sam steals the woman's bag. If you're in a rush, no one's gonna check what's in it right away. Back in the hotel room, it's filled with women's clothing suddenly, and that isn't a red flag for Sam, considering. Everything seems reasonable here. Except, of course, that security footage showing Sam removing the baggage tag and then taking off at a quick pace. And the fact that Sam appears to have stolen the woman's clothing. Brinton said they left the clothes from the bag in a drawer at the Intercontinental St. Paul Riverfront Hotel, but no clothing was recovered from the hotel room, said the cops. That's a big oof. And a lot of us who heard this story on social media thought it was just going to be a one-time thing. But it turns out Sam might actually be a serial woman's clothing thief. Non-binary Biden nuclear official Sam Brinton accused in a second luggage heist. A Biden administration Energy Department official who allegedly stole a woman's suitcase from a Minneapolis airport in September has been accused of another luggage heist at a Las Vegas airport. A felony warrant on grand larceny charges was issued on Thursday. And yes, this has led to Sam Brinton losing his job. Initially, after that first case hit the news cycle, Sam was placed on temporary leave by the Department of Energy. But now that we know it's not a one-off thing, non-binary Biden nuclear official Sam Brinton fired after multiple luggage theft charges. The Department of Energy has confirmed that Sam has been let go, but due to confidentiality, can't comment on the case further. Sam faces a possible $10,000 fine and up to 5 years in jail for the Minnesota theft and another 10 for the Las Vegas one. Both suitcases were stuffed full of women's clothing, makeup, and jewelry, judged to be worth several $1,000s per suitcase. And Sam was seen publicly using those stolen suitcases during their subsequent travels. Sam appeared in a Las Vegas courtroom on Wednesday, December 14th. This megamind-looking mugshot made the rounds on social media, which finally clued in the normies to what's going on and made him remember the previous news stories. In fact, social media seems to be part of Sam's downfall. They did an informal promotion for American Nuclear, wearing one of their Pride-themed t-shirts on their social media, specifically saying that the shirt was a great shirt for me to wear on my flight today. My professional society continues to grow and learn, and I'm proud of them. Goodness, how we have changed since my service as a chapter president. And it's the exact same shirt that Sam was wearing while caught on surveillance cameras stealing the luggage. Sam made a $15,000 bail and is due back in court, in Minneapolis this time, on December 19th. That's today. And yes, I'm recording this video before any new news comes out from that trial. I highly doubt anything crazy is going to happen. A lot of this stuff is just procedural at this point. Sam asked, through an attorney, to appear virtually at the Minneapolis court on account of currently dealing with the Las Vegas trial and traveling being a financial strain while unemployed. According to some articles, this claim of financial strain might be a hoax, as there's some reports of Sam's Instagram showing attendance at Boston and New York choral performances, documentary premieres, and Broadway shows during this apparent tough financial time. But that is something that I can't confirm, as Sam's Instagram is now private, and I can't find any screen caps, just the words of the journalists who claim to have seen it. Here's the thing, a lot of people had hunches that Sam was doing something weird, including me. And here's why. None of Sam's sexual activities, the public embracing of kink, the gender fluid stuff, the LGBT activism, hell, even their legitimately tragic past, none of it is a disqualifier for public service. Nor does it render all of their academic and professional experience in nuclear waste that Sam legitimately has under their belt irrelevant. Making fun of Sam for the weird viral pics is one thing. It's the internet, we're having a laugh, it's whatever. But there was never any evidence that what Sam did off the clock affected their work at the Department of Energy. And so, memes aside, it's actually not an issue. But there's this sense of, it's not about what you show proudly, but what you hide. And that's a dangerous thing to say, I know. You can very easily fall down the if you have nothing to fear, then you have nothing to hide rabbit hole with that logic. But I'm not going there. The thesis of my last video on Sam Brinton was fundamentally on an appeal to good taste. In my opinion, enjoy whatever type of sex you want in private, no matter how fucking weird it is. But you should keep it private. There's no reason for the world to know what you enjoy in the bedroom. That's for you and your partner. And the ability to keep it private is a marker of somebody who has good taste. Yes, adults have sex, they do it all the time. And in adult relationships, sex is actually pretty normalized. I know for any teenagers listening, or maybe even any adult virgins who are listening, you might think that sex is this magical thing, and sure, sometimes it can be. But when you're in a long-term relationship and you're sexually active in that relationship, the truth is, sex becomes one of those normal things that adults just do. But all of that is not a reason to normalize your sex life outside of your relationship. The fact that Sam Brinton was willing not only to make his sex life public, but to make a career out of it, first as an activist, and then secondly for representation purposes at the Department of Energy, was a massive red flag for me. Also, that now this clip from my previous video sits a lot more uneasily with me than it did before. Not that it was a totally normal thing before, but with the red flag now in mind, I'm starting to see hints of other ones. Look at the language that Sam uses in this clip.
Pronouns are confusing. I'm not going to say that they're not. But if I can have the President of the United States use my gender-neutral pronouns, and I can respectfully use theirs, then I think we're going to be in a world where everyone can be respected and everyone has the responsibility to be respectful.
If I can have the President of the United States use my gender-neutral pronouns? Have? Like make them? Not ask politely, engage in normal social behavior, give and take, but demand it? There is an angle of power and subservience that LGBT activists pretend isn't here, but it's totally here. Sam Brinton, in this video, looks like a man in a dress. And you can be a man in a dress all you want, that's cool with me. But it's some emperor has no clothes level of shit to be a man in a dress, demand others not call you a man, and then squeal in victory after they acquiesce to you. This is just some good old-fashioned armchair psych from Dev, but I personally think Sam gets off on this, and this is a part of their public normalization of kink, just like the dog stuff was years ago. He wasn't even getting paid for it. He wasn't in porn or anything. He made it public simply as a component of normalizing alternative sexualities. If it turns out that they also have a fetish for stealing women's clothing, which may very well be the case, I would not be surprised in the least. Not because they're gay or non-binary, or they're an LGBTQ activist, none of that. But because Sam Brinton is a person of low moral character, and their behavior has been hinting at that for years. Here's an addendum that I'm making while editing. You know how I said, oh, don't worry, I know the second court case is happening right now. It's fine, no new news will come out about Sam Brinton, we can do this today. Well, you know how it is over here, with me putting my foot in my mouth literally all the time. It turns out that Sam Brinton's horrific childhood tale, which I went over in detail in the previous video, might be too good to be true. The Florida conversion therapist that Sam cites in that 2011 interview is remarkably hard to find now that more in-depth investigations have begun into their actions. The torture that Sam described was commonly in use in conversion therapy in the 1950s, but the time period when they would have attended conversion therapy was 1999 to 2001, and no known conversion therapist in the United States used those exercises at that time. Attempts by investigators and reporters to ask Sam Brinton who was their conversion therapist and which conversion therapy facility did they attend were met with refusals to answer. One reporter with the Los Angeles Blade, an LGBTQ-themed newspaper, stated that Sam was the only survivor of conversion therapy since 1998 who has refused to name and shame their abusers. Sam claims to not remember the name of their conversion therapist due to trauma, but in other interviews, they described the clinic as being located in a strip mall in Orlando, Florida. That Blade reporter checked with an LGBT-affiliated expert on conversion therapy in the Orlando region, who confirmed that there was no known conversion therapy office at any strip mall in Florida from 1999 to 2001. The reporter also contacted Sam's mother, who isn't exactly a neutral source of information herself, let's remember, but she said that Sam never went to conversion therapy, but he did go to a psychiatrist. Sam's own testimony has changed as they became more high profile, more recently describing a licensed psychotherapist who attempted to perform conversion therapy on the side, rather than an actual conversion therapist. The reporter personally warned the National Center for Lesbian Rights that Brinton's story must be verified before he's put forward as a public figure. But the NCLR simply said, "We must believe all survivors," and moved forward with their spotlighting of Sam Brinton. It's my personal opinion that Sam Brinton presented this story to various LGBTQ activist organizations like the NCLR and the Trevor Project in order to quickly gain status within those institutions. And what is probably a lie has stuck with him as they moved out of student activism and into a professional career. Additionally, there's a whole other host of LGBT activists, organizations, and journalists who have allowed this fraud to continue under the guise of believing all victims, something that progressives tell me is just a slogan and never actually happens. In 2011, talking to Queerty, an LGBT outlet, Sam Brinton said, "I don't want to be the poster child for the anti-conversion movement." Considering how much fame and influence Sam has reaped since then, this is probably the most false thing they've ever said.